Saints, I hope that you are well, enjoying the lovely summer, and also enjoying your Bible reading. I wanted to preview briefly the reading for this upcoming week, so Thursday to Thursday. We started off with Isaiah chapter 5, and this week's reading will take us through Isaiah chapter 41. So, a couple of things to look at. Um, Starting off in Isaiah chapter 5 through chapter 8, within that first day's reading from this past Thursday, we have the call of Isaiah, and so that one is awesome. After that, there's a lot of hellfire and brimstone, a lot of God's justice will come down swiftly, and a lot of descriptions of what that will mean, not just for the people of Israel, but also for the nations around them. It goes to show that God is an equal opportunity smiter for sinners and for the arrogant and everything like that. And so we get a lot of that. And in this week's reading, we read the bulk of the book of Isaiah. And a couple of things I'll point out. So Isaiah 19 has very recently become one of my favorites. And that's because there's a vision, a picture of, a new reality where there is sort of peace and connection between several nations, between Israel, between Assyria, between Egypt. It's really cool. And it talks about how, God's vision isn't just for a spiritual reality where everybody is, perhaps doing really well spiritually, but then also that there is peace, there is commerce, there is connection, and there's exchange between the nations. And so I really like 19. And so if you're skipping around, check out 19. And, for Assyria, Egypt, and, Israel, consider, what are some other nations you'd want to put in there to broker that kind of peace and cooperation. And so that one's really, really cool in this reading. And then towards the end of this week's reading, in chapters, I believe, 38, 39, we get a little bit of narrative. And so there's a lot of sort of poetic, prophetic utterances, but then we sort of parachute back into the story with King Hezekiah. And so if you're looking to figure out when is this happening historically, that is when it is happening. The way it works is that narratively, all of Isaiah happens before the exile, during sort of the last several kings, culminating with King Hezekiah. However, what the grand belief is that, right around chapter 30 or so, the Isaiah we get after that is from, what they might call the second Isaiah, or someone who was actually in exile. And so we can talk more about that later. But nonetheless, this week we start off Isaiah 5, you'll finish Isaiah 41, and there's lots of great stuff there. So hope you enjoy it.